This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland.
Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. My name is Simon.
And I'm Jo.
And today we're gonna talk about getting a passport for your baby.
Yep, particularly if you have a British Swiss baby like we do.
Yes, exactly. We have a baby born in January, as you might know by now, and we tried to get the passports ready, so if we fly to England, we are all set. And first, we did the easier one, Swiss passport, and then we tried to get this British passport as well.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about and explain a little bit how this all went.
Yeah, because I've seen online there's quite a few questions from people about how to do both of these things, and we think quite a few of our listeners might be in this same position. So this is how we did it.
Yes, and then at the end of the show, I have a special good Swiss word for you to learn.
Yeah, our listeners are getting an exciting repertoire of Bernese overland dialect words to use.
Totally, yeah.
Bonus prize for anyone who can use them all in a sentence together by the end of the year.
Right, let's kick it off by explaining how it went for the Swiss passport, because it's much easier. I can maybe explain a little bit. Because there, in case you are married, then you don't need much. You only need the birth certificate. That's all. Mm-hmm. You call the passport office, which you will find in every canton, at least, I think. At least in every canton. Here for the canton of Bern, it is in Bern. So we just call there, make an appointment, or you can make an appointment online, depends
how modern it is.
How
so
advanced
don't
your
count on
canton is. And you take your birth certificate and you go there and take the picture there. You know, they check everything, control everything. You have to bring your passports as well.
Yeah, so birth certificate for the baby, obviously.
Yes.
You don't need yours.
Yes,
in this case.
only for the baby. True. And then there, how did it go? It was quite weird
it was
hall
interesting
and stuff.
because we went as kind of early as we could manage organisational wise, because we wanted to be able to travel if the need came.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few booths there, and at the time we went, because of Corona, obviously, the person who was doing the appointment with us was behind a plastic, separation shield wall thing. And so for me, it was really difficult to hear what she was saying. So it was a little bit farcical in that sense, but luckily you were there. And we kept going between two different booths because she had to have a photo taken. And this was quite funny.
Yes, in the booth, you have a special baby booth. So the baby can lay down basically, and the camera is from the top. So that needed a special booth. And she was like, hold your arms. You hold her arms you hold the head.
So one person has the hand behind the head and the other person has to hold the arms down. And there's a special table that folds out. And it should happen quite quickly and smoothly. Yeah. Of course, with ours, it took maybe 5 different goes because the camera wasn't working.
The camera wasn't working, then the computer wasn't working, then she couldn't save the photo. She was very friendly and she really apologized. But it took quite a while. And luckily, Maeve, our daughter, she was happy all the time.
She quite enjoyed it.
Yes.
But in theory, that's quite a quick process.
Yep, that was all fine. And you only have to decide, do you want the passport and the ID, or you only want the passport or only the ID?
Yeah, that's that little card.
Yes, an ID card, which you can use all over Europe to travel. So basically, you theoretically don't need the passport if you don't travel further than Europe.
The EU
Than
anyway,
the EU,
right? Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, yes.
We can't use that to travel to the UK anymore, but that's a different topic.
Exactly. So the British passport, which is a different story, we started after.
We did. This was a very different kettle of fish, I should say.
Ooh, that's a nice phrase I should learn. Kettle of fish.
Kettle, as in that thing you boil to make tea. Or fish. Sounds disgusting, doesn't it?
Yes. So...
It was different.
It doesn't really have a meaning, the kettle of fish.
Most of these sayings come from some kind of meaning that's long forgotten. It's probably, back in the oldie days, people collected buckets of fish or something.
And
they were very
you
different.
boiled them and then had fish tea, yes.
So we had our fish tea.
Apologize to all people who like animals, like us as well.
Yeah.
We don't boil fish, just for a clarification. All right. Sorry.
So,
you go.
The British passport was quite difficult and unexpectedly so. I imagined we'd only have to send our birth certificates, her birth certificate, but no. The rules changed at some point in the last 10, 20 years or so, And depending on how old the British parent is, you're going to have to send a lot more documentation than you might imagine. So you fill out a form online, which is great. You can take the picture yourself and upload it yourself. Also great, because obviously we're living abroad.
Yeah, that made it a bit easier than the Swiss passport.
Yeah, so we took a really nice photo for her British passport.
Yeah.
Somebody has to confirm the identity of your baby because it's their first passport. But they can also do that online nowadays, which is great. If you're living abroad, I think it's advised to have someone else who knows the baby who lives abroad. But it didn't seem to be essential.
How did you do that? I don't even know that you did that. How did that go?
That's because it was so smooth, you didn't even notice it happening. You know, it has to be someone who has a certain profession, like a journalist or a teacher or a doctor, but quite a long list of things, also like an optician or whatever. And I have a friend here who's a teacher, so I asked her to confirm our baby's identity online.
Okay. Okay.
And you basically ask them, you fill out their email, and they get an email, and they have to look at the picture of the baby online, I assume, and say, yes, it's them.
And that person has to be British or Swiss or...
Well, this is also quite interesting. They should be British or Irish, interestingly enough. Yep. You can also do it, I think, if you're an American citizen, but then you have to send some kind of proof of your identity as part of the process.
Okay.
Interesting,
But you can't be... So you have to be some kind of nationality. You can't do it as a Swiss.
No.
Weird.
It is interesting, isn't it? I was surprised about all of those different clauses. I don't know why.
Okay.
But this is just part of the complications, you know, get used to it with getting a British passport is all I can say.
They say in Switzerland, documentation and stuff, administration is a lot of work.
From what I've learned so far, it's the same in the UK.
Okay.
Maybe even worse because we're less organised. Anyhow, so that happens. And also, you don't need to have registered the birth in the UK if your baby has a Swiss birth certificate. Isn't that weird?
Could you say that again?
Obviously you've got your birth certificate and then you've got your passport.
Yes.
You assume you need to have the birth certificate before you can get the passports. But you don't need to have a British birth certificate for the baby before you get the passport if they've got a Swiss birth certificate.
Okay, so one birth certificate is enough.
If they're Swiss British.
Okay.
Obviously, if your baby's only British, then this doesn't apply to you.
Yeah, so you don't need a British birth certificate at all.
No, you don't.
Okay.
But I did that anyway because I thought that's a good thing there to have.
Yeah, who knows?
Get as much documentation as you can in this modern age, right?
Yeah.
So once you've done all of that, you've had the person confirm your baby is who it pretends to be. You need to send off the baby's Swiss passport if they have one already, their birth certificate, the British parent's birth certificate, the Swiss parent's birth certificate, birth and marriage certificates for all of the grandparents. And that was the surprising bit. When I got to this bit online, I thought, are they kidding? What? So then we had to contact our parents and say, we need an original copy of your birth certificate.
Yes, also Swiss parents.
Also the Swiss parents.
Yes.
And everyone was like, what? And what's more interesting is don't send the original, send the original copy. And I only know about this because of applying for my Swiss passport. You can contact the place where you were born in the UK and they send you something that's called an original copy. Because, you know, back in the olden days, my birth certificate was filled out by hand, obviously. I'm so extremely old. Yours as well, I imagine. But now they can make
Mine was chiseled in stone.
Yeah, exactly, which was too heavy to send. So now they print you out a nice modern version and it's original copy. Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we sent all of those and you can follow the progress online of your passport and they say, don't contact us under any circumstances.
Okay, so with the documents to come back to them.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it all included, although you just listed them. We will list them in our show notes on our website, which is called swissandchips.com. You can find them there. So for anyone who wants to do that and didn't have a pen and a paper by hand, so you'll find it there.
Yeah. I should say if you're applying online, it tells you anyway. It's just you have maybe 6 months or so to gather all of this documentation. It should be enough time, but with a new baby, who knows?
Yeah.
So it's good to be prepared.
How long did all the process take then from like start to end? Like how much was gathering the documents and how much was sending them and getting the passport?
Yeah, filling out the form online didn't take extremely long. Asking someone to verify could take a while, depending on who you have at hand to do such a thing. That could be a bit tricky, but not impossible.
Then getting the grandparents' documents.
This was the difficult bit because my parents had to order, more original copies of all of these things. Your mum had to find stuff.
And then they sent them from England to Switzerland
and
so on. Yeah.
Then I had to package everything and then send it off. So that was the tricky bit.
So organizing 1 month and then plus minus, could take a year, could be done maybe in 2 weeks.
You could do it in a month if you were speedy about it, I think.
Okay. And then sending off till the passport is back, that took another few weeks, didn't it? Like maybe 4 weeks.
Yeah, we sent it off. It took about a week to get there. We sent it extremely fast.
And probably you said it already, but also the Swiss passport needed to go in there.
Exactly.
So during that time, you don't have any passport for the baby.
No.
So you're for 1 month or so, plus minus, you're without passport. So you have to plan a little bit, which we did as well, to think like, do we want to go anywhere in the next month outside of the EU? Because we also have the identity card for her, so we can travel inside the EU.
Exactly.
But if we would want to go to England, we would have needed to keep the Swiss passport, so we couldn't get the British passport.
Yeah, it says in the application details, you need to send the passport that you use to enter the country in which you reside. And I thought, technically speaking, it's not, we might not have already got her Swiss passport, but we had. So I thought, well, just send it because I don't want to mess it up and then to come back and say, hey, why didn't you send it?
Okay,
do you see what I mean?
See, yes. And then there was a time limit when it had to be there.
Exactly, yeah. They keep sending you emails. Send us your stuff now, or otherwise we'll delete your application.
Okay, which was like a month or so you had time.
That was quite a long time, maybe 4 months, 6 months, something like that.
Well, we managed to do it in the very last day.
We did, yeah. Thank goodness for us.
Very good.
And then it took about 4 weeks to come back, actually. Apparently there's a long delay to get British passports at the moment, but isn't there always?
But now it's here, so...
Now it's here, but our supporting documents haven't come back yet.
Which means the Swiss passport.
Is missing.
Yeah, the chisel
MIA.
stone would not be a problem, but the Swiss passport.
Swiss passport is somewhere in the north of England.
But at least now we've got the British passport. And the Swiss passport, we could just say, it's lost and go and get a new one. It's only 1,000,000,000 francs.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
So it's coming back at some point, they say, which is nice.
Right. And that's how you get passports for your binational baby.
Exactly.
At least we've got only 2 passports at the moment, so that's all good.
Yeah, we'll work on collecting a few more if possible.
Right. And here we go with the Swiss word, which is Schoggijob. We talked about this before, so you know what it means.
I do, yeah.
Let's explain Schoggijob.
Chocolate job.
Exactly.
Working in a chocolate factory.
Yes, perfect. Schoggi means chocolate. Job means
Job.
Very good.
Yes, I'm good at this.
So, how to explain it? It means basically an easy job.
Yeah. Like that's cushy.
Yeah, if you are maybe with a friend together, for example, and you both do prepare a meal, but someone has to do the hard work and the other one does the easy work, then you can say to the guy who does if you are the person who does the hard work, you will say to the guy who does the easy work, or the person, you'd say, oh, you've got the Schoggijob.
So it's not just about an actual job, like
no,
employment.
No. It's rarely about an actual job. It's more to say someone, oh, you've got the easy task.
Right.
You have got the Schoggijob. But you can also say it in a conversation when you actually talk about jobs.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, that sounds like a Schoggijob you have. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
Like it. Okay.
And that's it for today.
So don't forget to check out our Facebook group, Switzerland for English Speakers. And if you have any more questions about passports or anything to do with life in Switzerland, you can ask a question there. And there's loads of people who'd love to share their experiences with you. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, it would be great if you leave us a review if you want to. If it's your first time listening, hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on an episode of Swisser Chips, I'm telling you.
Yes, and if you hate the show, don't,
Shoot,
no
go
reviews.
Away. Don't mention it.
Just don't tell anyone. Great, so thanks for listening.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
And now the record
Yeah,
button
now
will
you
stop.
can stop.
Stop.
Yeah.